Are you saving yourself, right? But what we do every month is we set goals, right? So what's the 2 goals that are most common that we set in our organization these days? There's 2 numbers we tend to strive for a lot. If you're full-time, what do we always say? 2 members, personal, 10,000 points, revenue. And then if you're part-time, what do we say?
1 and 5.
1 and 5. Everybody agree those are reasonable? Yours might be a little bit different, right? 2 and 10 and 1 and 5. So, what a lot of time, I know I've talked about this before, but typically what happens is that we wait, right? We wait. You guys you saw my calendar probably a few weeks ago, right? 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, 1, 2, 3, the 8th, and you go down, right down the month, right? And then you have 30, how many days are this month? Is it 30? April 30th, right? So you go through the calendar, right? Let's say this is April. And the first week, we just don't even go to the meeting the first week of the month many times. Because it's the beginning of the month. It's as easy as my kid's out from school today. It's going to be 48. It's not 50 below today. So let's celebrate. I'll take the day off. So you kind of ease in that first week. Right? Then the second week, you start creating your goals. And then by the 3rd week, you start getting serious. And then when you get down to the last, 23rd to the 30th, this is where most of the stuff matters. But what's happening this week that creates urgency that we don't have in these weeks? It's the deadline. It's the end of the month deadline. Oh, I'm not going to get bonus. I got to get paid. I'm going to pay my mortgage, right? Is it true or false? Is this true or not?
Yep.
Right? So what happens is, as human beings, it's the deadline that gets us to move. The deadline gets us to move, but the deadline, the problem many times is it doesn't come until the end of the month. So, last week I was out of town. We took the kids out of town for a couple of days. Was working on expanding, had some teammates, was trying to get reactivated. So what did I do? I said, well, the month ends on Saturday. This is Angelo talking about, full confession. Month ends on Saturday. I'll get home Friday. The client's lined up. The kids are having fun at the pool. My appointment went lousy that I wanted to reactivate the teammate. I'm sad today. So I'm going to just do it on Friday. What's the big deal? It's Transamerica. I'll submit it on Friday, and everything's going to go perfect. It's done. I text them. We on? Yeah, it's done. Just send it in. It's okay, great. Friday morning, I'm getting up and have my coffee. I'm like, yeah, it's about to fire over the email to get my app in, and everything's done. I'm going to hit everything I need to hit.
Good Friday.
It's Good Friday. I get a frantic call from Rocky Eli. They close the month on Thursday.
Yeah, right.
They never close the month on Thursday, but it's Good Friday. Yeah, I understand it's Good Friday, but they still let you electronically submit through the end of the month, and then they count all the apps on Monday. Aegon's got a new rule this month that they apparently implemented where they can't do that. Month's closed, you're done. Screw you, you're out. And the $5,000 doesn't go in, you don't hit your bonus. That cost you about $7,000. It was a rough Friday. Right? Now, if I'm procrastinating, I know you are too. Because probably your mindset probably is less committed than mine. Just going to tell you not everybody, maybe there's a few people. I'd say 90% of this room, you don't work as hard as I do. I can't imagine the thought processes that we have about procrastinating things because it's Good Friday and you start justifying it. And it's spring break and you start justifying, but here's a simple solution. What if you just made the deadline 4 times a month? You do a deadline on the 8th, you do a deadline on the 15th, the 22nd, I don't know if I got that right. And now you create that mini effect of that deadline every week. And so instead of giving yourself a goal of 10,000 points a month, why don't you give yourself a goal of 2,500 points a week? 2,500 times 4 weeks is 10,000. Or you do 1,250 times 4 weeks is 5,000. See, because now if you do a weekly goal, what's going to happen? Well, it doesn't seem like that much every week. But where you're going to get in trouble is when you have to report. And now, you see, spring break week, you got pressure because you got a deadline you got to report. Every bad habit that you have, all of a sudden, every week it's being accentuated and you're being held accountable. So what do most people do at that point? What do they do? Let's be honest. When you start being held accountable all the time and you don't like it, what do?
Stop getting.
Either you perform or you stop being accountable. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden, Wednesday morning I got a workshop. Bullshit. You just don't want to be on a call because you got no numbers. Because that's when we do our call. Excuse me for saying that language. Okay, but that's the way it works. Now, once a month we can feel, I had a great. So then, and I'm telling you, I've watched people do this. Man, I don't want to tell you how many years. There are people I could literally write out their schedule for you every month. It's sad because they keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. The mindset is, why do I got to go to the BPM? I got nobody at the BPM. Tonight I'd rather work on a project at my house. You know what it is? The reminder of coming is not always fun. I get it. So you start questioning. But listen, if you just break down these goals on a weekly basis, things change. Because we're procrastinators, right? So I read this book a while back. It's called Procrastination Cure. And it talks about money management. It says, I thought this was interesting. It says procrastination does not necessarily mean laziness. I think I get that from I don't know if you have baby boomer parents, but to me, baby boomers are the hardest working people ever. They work overtime, they do whatever, and they have this work ethic. And if you don't work hard, it's you're always taught that you're lazy. But this is actually saying procrastination is not equal laziness, right? That procrastination is 20% are chronic procrastinators. Procrastination is the habit of putting off important, less pleasurable tasks by doing easier, more pleasurable tasks. That's such a nice, way better way of saying it than the way I say things. That is the sweetest way to say it. Procrastination is the habit of putting off important, less pleasurable tasks by doing easier, more pleasurable tasks. Give me an example of that. Yeah.
My son, he hates homework, so he'll put it off.
He'll put it off. So how does he do it? He jumps on the iPad. He says, let me do that. Dad, I'll do my chores because they just don't want to do it.
I'll even eat before that.
That's right. I'll clean my room before that. What are other things that we do to procrastinate besides that? What? Workouts. Well, if I just get some energy right now, then I could really go kill it. Right? So then you go work out for it, and then you see your friend and you talk to him. And then they go, hey, man, are you starving? Yeah, I am. Well, let's go out to lunch, right? Before you know it, it's 4 o'clock, and you have not made one phone call. Don't tell me it doesn't happen to you. It happens. You are a business owner. That's why we try to encourage people to be in the office. It's more to create accountability for yourself. So less pleasurable. What's more pleasurable task? Sending an email, complaining about how horrible WFG Home Office is. That's way more pleasurable than calling a new prospect. Because there's a lot to talk about when you talk about how bad the home office is. There's a lot there. You could talk about it for 5 hours. Son of a guns don't answer your call. You can't email them. Then you go talk to 3 more people about it. 5 procrastination busters. So only write this down if you really want to have your numbers hit this month. So the first one is pleasure and pain. And I have done this a lot, and it does work. Actually, no, not this one, but I've done this too. Visualize positive feelings you'll have getting completed the task and the negative outcomes if you don't. One thing, Amy and I right now, we're procrastinating our taxes. It's just horrible, and the tax statement is in a few. We got a new accountant. But man, the negative outcomes are like the IRS penalties, late filing, all that. Like what it is, just figure out what your pleasure and pain. Think about it, man. Hey, I actually did what Patrick said. He said 10 names. I called 10 companies. I got into one new company because I actually I didn't analyze it too much. I just did it, right? So just imagine in your mind the hardest task you don't want to do today, how it would feel when it's done. And now it's done, right? This is the big one. And here is the number one problem with the business owner in WFG, in my opinion. They don't have a real accountability partner. They're very good at pulling the wool over their partner's eyes. They know how to BS their lack of success so good that their spouse doesn't even know what's going on many times. That's why they don't even bring them around. They don't want them to know what's going on. And that's a spouse. If you're not married, could be a brother. If you're single, could be your girlfriend. But we are less likely to break public commitments and to disappoint others. So find a friend who will hold you accountable for doing what you say. One of the reasons that I, probably to a fault, share a lot of my personal stuff with all of you is because I want to constantly try to expose myself and put pressure on myself. That's hard to do for people that have too much pride. I had too much pride, and there was moments in my life when my pride comes out like a son of a gun. And when it comes out, it's not my best moments. I know that. But I try to be transparent and to tell you a story like last week what happened to me. A lot of leaders, they ain't going to want to do that. And the reason they don't want to do that is because they always want to look good to you. I want to look good, but you know what? I made a screw up last week that I'm telling you guys not to do, and I did it last week. So, but if I got an accountability partner that's on my ass all the time called Amy, I promise you things are a lot different. If you gave your accountability to your spouse weekly instead of monthly, which is way easier, if you said, honey, I'm going to bring in $2,500 this week. How does that? Points? They don't know what that means. You say, I'm going to bring, this is what you do. Figure out your contract level. Let's say you're at 50%, and you say, honey, this week I'm going to make 50% of $2,500. I'm going to make $1,250 this week for the family. Say that to your husband tonight and see if you don't get his attention. This week, not in the next year. Because all he sees is that you just went to a convention and he wants to know the money you spent, did you get it back yet? If you got an accountability partner and you have a committed goal, it's going to make a big difference. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Carrot and sticks. This is the one I was going to tell you that I do. Let's say that you have, I got this, I don't know, I think I got this from Art Williams years ago. Give yourself small rewards for completing the test. So let's say you love eating out. Let's say your wife loves eating out. What you do is you say, honey, what's your favorite restaurant? She goes, Gibson's. You say, okay, look, if I hit my goal for the week, Gibson's it is. If I don't hit my goal for the week, we have to cook at home. And you set that goal as a family for that week. You go bust it this week, and you give yourself a little, you say, hey, next week, honey, if I do this, I'm going to get you a massage. Well, you go on Groupon, you could get one for $40. It's amazing. And there's always a new company willing to give it to you for $40 if you want it. But it's just a little thing like that, and you give yourself the reward. But you also punish yourself if you don't do it. You don't go, hey, no, we're going to go, I'm just going to throw it on the card. No. Now, you really want to give yourself accountability? You enroll the entire family in your goal. You say to your kids and your spouse, hey, sweetheart, I'm going to go about 2 minutes over. Hey, sweetheart, if you guys do this weekend, we're going to, I don't know where kids go on the weekend when it's cold, but we go somewhere warm. So you go bowling. We're going to go bowling on Saturday if Daddy hits his goal this week. I promise you, when you come home and Misha says, Dad, did you hit your goal? It's a little bit different than if you just say she's in bed and you go to sleep tonight. See, all this stuff works, but it's just how much you want to really expose yourself because you're comfortable right now. Life's pretty good. It's a nice Monday. I don't like all this stuff. Remove temptations. Facebook or anything. Video games. Email. Cell phone. Come on. How much time we waste on that stuff every day? Waste. I'm working on my business. No, you're not. Lastly, we are all time inconsistent, and so, this is the last thing we're going to end. And we suffer from present bias. We routinely make decisions now, but fail to act the way we think we will in the future. We order workout DVDs from an infomercial but never use them. We plan to go to the library every weekend to study for finals, but we end up cramming the night before. Your future self is always trying to sabotage the intentions of your present self. Mental time travel to the future to think of all the ways your future self will try to procrastinate. I'm too tired, I'll do it tomorrow, I have no clothes to wear, I deserve a break. Plan now to overcome these thoughts and procrastinating actions. Here's the point of this. You already know where the breakdown happens. The breakdown happens at such and such a time when you're at home, you get triggered by a certain TV program or a certain person, and then that sets you into a tailspin. You already know. Identify all those things up front. Hey, honey, you know what's going to happen this week? We're going to want to watch that stupid Netflix thing, and you know when I come home, we're not going to feel like working on our prospect list, but I want to go to Gibson's this weekend. I can't watch Breaking Bad tonight. I got to make a few extra calls. Because I already know where the best. So this works. Everything we gave you today, look at Patrick gave you exactly what to say. Anthony gave you exactly what to say. But if you don't fix this part, it's not going to matter. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So next Monday, by the way, I did not screw up. Jared